16 says I just whipped your ass.
Yes! You just made the list!
Brock Lesnar.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stuart Vine.
My name is Joshua Plummer.
And yeah, we're back for another review. We've got Double or Nothing 2021, as I like to call it for some reason. But yeah, so we're back to review it. I think it'll be the first AEW show that has a pay-per-view that has a full capacity crowd. That was they really made a big deal of that. I think a full capacity crowd,
which was wonderful to see. Wonderful to see, and they were vocal from the get-go, especially with that first match, very much behind Adam Page chanting of cowboy shit. Big old pop when his music hit.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's just. I think WrestleMania was the same thing. It's just like it's so good to have fans back. It brings energy that nothing else can really bring. You know, it needs that kind of. It needs fans back, man, and I'm so glad that. It's really cool. It's the first show, like literally no restrictions. It's full capacity. No, we can have like 10,000 or anything like that. It's just like it's full capacity. So, yeah. So it definitely made the show really lively. It was really cool. So yeah. So I was really looking forward to it, especially as always with Double or Nothing. 9 matches if you don't count the buy-in. But yeah, 10 matches to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of stuff. So
yeah. Kind of like the bit of a super card. Well, most of the kind of AEW like pay-per-views tend to have some kind of super card. I guess because they only have 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year.
Pretty much very old school, as we know, like very old school, like like WWF, like the 80s and that, with the kind of only 4 or 5 big shows a year. So yeah, so it's like their second biggest one a year. But yeah, so I guess as always, I guess it's one I think just got to get stuck straight into it. So obviously, just a quick note before we start though. If you're listening to us on YouTube, I think as you know, we're trying to go on YouTube a bit more. So yeah, if you're listening to us on that, go and like and subscribe. That'd be awesome. We've got a couple of subscribers and a couple of likes from our last review we did. So we're slowly building up something anyway. So yeah, and also if you listen to this you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, all that kind of stuff. If you want to listen to on a podcast, or on your podcast forums type stuff. So yeah, so let's get stuck into it. So we'll just quickly talk about the buy-in match, because obviously I'm assuming same as me, you didn't watch it.
I didn't. No, I didn't stay up to watch the pay-per-view. I watched this morning. We're currently recording on the Tuesday, and the buy-in wasn't there. Well, it is available, I think, on YouTube, but I didn't get a chance to watch it because this show was 4 hours long. And to throw in another match, no. I can't handle that.
So yeah, so obviously, as we just said, we didn't watch the match. So obviously, it's just a quick talk about obviously the NWA Women's Championship was on the line with Serena Deeb going against Riho. Is it Riho? If I pronounced that correctly?
Riho, yeah, and Serena Deeb rather than Dean. But otherwise, not bad. Well done. Usually pretty bad, especially with Japanese names. But no, did all right there. Not too bad. I'm proud of you, Stu. You've only been doing the podcast for about 3.5 years, so.
God, he was being really nice, and then he's really mean. But if to be fair, he's right. I should know names. But anyway, so obviously, no surprise here that obviously she defended it. There was no title change in this match because obviously I think I had a talk on a guy on Twitter saying that a NWA Women's Championship is not going to be changing on an AEW show. If that's going to change hand, it's going to happen on their promotion, not this one.
And it's certainly not going to change on a buy-in/kickoff show.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she got the win. So I'm assuming she's going to, similar to what Thunder Rosa did, like, doing some matches and then doing some matches on NWA, and then kind of just getting more exposure for the promotion more than anything else, I guess.
Yep, similar to what I guess Kenny Omega's doing with the TNA title as well as the AAA title. But yeah, that helps each other, especially if it's a new company. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it seems that what AEW are doing, kind of just having all these promotions, just helping each other out. I kind of think's really cool. But yeah, so no change of the title there. But yeah, so Serena Deeb, did I just get that right?
Deeb. You're just adding different letters at the end. Serena Deeb. Deet. No. Dees. No.
I'm just gonna move on. She's still champion, and he's just being known now. But anyway, let's just get stuck into the main show. Just thought as always, just bring it up because obviously it's important. So and it's a title match, so it needs to be talked about. But anyway, yeah. So we kicked off with the it's kind of a rankings type of match, I think. Obviously I think we've got Adam Page that was first in the rankings that now is I think like 6th or something, and then Brian Cage that I had apparently done that Brian Cage gave Adam Page his first loss I think this year. So but yeah, I mean going into this match, I mean what were you thinking of this feud? Was this a match you were like, oh, I'm kind of interested, or you thought it should be a good match but not really interested?
Yeah, this was a kind of redemption / kind of equaling the score kind of match. So Adam Page had 13 wins, not quite sure if it's in total or just for 2021. But that one loss came against Brian Cage, which was a surprise to everyone. A big kind of shock win, which is always nice to see. Even though Brian Cage has been booked pretty well and dominant like even before then. I'm enjoying what they're doing with the dissension in the ranks of the Team Taz faction. If that's one of the criticism of AEW is that everyone has to be part of a faction or at least be associated with them, even if they kind of work alone. So like Cody sort of works alone, but he has his Nightmare family. He's also technically part of the Elite. Adam Page isn't part of a faction, but he sort of is. He hasn't technically joined the Dark Order, but he has them as backup, as a friendship group. As with Brian Cage, Brian Cage, obviously captained by Team Taz, or by Taz himself rather, his son Hook, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, and Ricky Stark, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's all kind of started from kind of after that really cool match they had at Revolutions with the street, was it the kind of cinematic street fight they had, and kind of Cage is like got respect for Sting, like he earned his respect, and kind of that didn't go down well with people in Team Taz, and it's just been a slow build of decline from then on. I think like Ricky Starks has got a problem with Brian Cage that obviously fits in nicely with obviously the finish of the match, but yeah, they're building it nicely, and I think Brian Cage has kind of got to that point where he could probably go alone, because the guy is, well, he's called the Machine for a reason. The guy's, well, a machine. He's insane. The kind of stuff that guy can do in the ring is incredible. For
the man of his size, the speed, especially of his strikes, are very, very surprising, very impactful.
But yeah, I mean, to be, I don't know. It's just it feels like they've got something here. Maybe similar to like Lance Archer, where it's like they've got something. So maybe they're going to see if they can try to build him up to maybe go like against someone like a big feud and win a big feud, maybe, or go against maybe Miro. Obviously, the TNT Championship is still like a kind of good launching pad, maybe to get a world title, maybe. But yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of a thing like it's one of the first matches they've kind of used the rating system quite nicely. Like in the pay-per-view, it's like it's built on some more than respect, but it's also built just because you took my undefeated streak, and I want I want it back, kind of thing. Like he wants, because obviously everyone knows that Adam Page is probably gonna go against Kenny Omega at some point, so it's kind of they're going by the ratings, I think. So this is what the kind of match, and I was kind of looking forward to it because I mean I've been enjoying Adam Page's kind of run recently. I think they've built him quite nicely.
I think so too, and slowly but surely they haven't pushed him to the moon. It's been a gradual uphill battle, especially with his issues with drinking, say, and trust issues, especially with the Elite, and then the reluctancy to join the Dark Order. But without kind of turning the Dark Order away, because maybe then people would turn against Page because people like the Dark Order, especially they built up a pun intended cult kind of following on BTE with their humorous antics. So that was good to see. It gives Page like something to do, and it shows he has that kind of support with him, and you can like trust other wrestlers. So he had that Elite for a while, but the Elite were holding him back. Those kind of issues. So getting him to develop that way, and also him continuing to win, getting that streak going. If there's a bump in the road, he attempts to resolve it, attempts to fix it, which is a sign of a good babyface. Doesn't run from problems, conflicts them head on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just he's so relatable as a character. I think. I just think it's very rare that it's like it's like, yeah, you can empathise with a guy like that.
Anyway, getting into the match itself, we may as well. So a kind of trend which happens throughout the first few matches, or actually throughout the night, really. There's like a sudden start. The match just quickly gets going, usually followed by some kind of interference at the end by a relating character relating to the storyline that's currently going on. As I mentioned before, there's a big pop for Hangman Adam Page. The bell rings and they start exchanging early. The crowd are chanting cowboy shit. We've got a Torpe Suicida, one of many as well throughout the show, by Adam Page. He is then caught by the powerful machine that is Brian Cage and powerbombed into the ring post, injuring his back, which I thought would play more of a factor in this match, but turns out it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of a fit. It never is in wrestling matches, really, is it? Like, Sam works on a body part, but it never turns into anything other than just it's good. It's a good inroads into maybe the finish, but they never use. It's never like that's the reason they lose. That I kind of wish they'd done more of in wrestling matches personally. But yeah, you expect everything. You had what was it? I think a suplex. Was it done? Brian Cage done like a suplex onto Adam Page onto the stage. You know, but it just shows his strength because, my God, he's a machine, no pun intended. You had, was it an F5 from the top by Brian Cage? Looked awesome. He even tried to put a bit of insult to injury with a bit of like trying to go for Adam Page's kind of own buckshot lariat, but kind of Adam Page countered. I think he might be right. Did Adam Page hit like the F5 on Brian Cage? I'm sure he did, or some sort of version of it. I'm not quite sure.
He did, yeah. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but it was the F5, but the move itself. But I'm not quite sure what the name of it is. Adam Page then goes for a buckshot lariat. However, he is then German suplexed onto his neck, which didn't look particularly comfortable. Followed by a little bit more of more domination from Brian Cage. Powerbomb. There's buck bomb into the corner. Adam Page manages to counter with a jackknife pin for a nice 2. We had the spinning Liger bomb from Brian Cage, which is very nice. It's then kind of at this point, even though I think Brian Cage is on top and has the momentum, this is when Ricky Starks comes out at the front to distract the referee, distract whoever, and then it's Taz's son Hook who throws in the belt and indicates Brian Cage to use it. However, Brian Cage, as we touched on before, very much respect Sting after his defeat, but has that same mutual respect for Adam Page. He's putting up a really good fight, a really good contest, so he throws the belt away, much to the dismissal of Taz, Hook, and Starks. However, as he is distracted by Hook, it's Adam Page sets up for the buckshot lariat and gets the win. They're now one apiece. Will they have a deciding match, do you reckon?
I wouldn't be surprised. To be fair, especially with their kind of rivalry is built on this kind of one-upmanship anyway. Kind of like, you beat me, I want to beat, and now I've beaten you. Maybe we've got to see who the best is. Because they had a cool thing beforehand where Adam Page was like saying, can you kind of, do you want to face me one-on-one, like without Team Taz? And obviously he's proven that he could have beaten him, but Team Taz got in the way. So, but I wouldn't be against it. But the way, again, it was really, it was really good opener. It really got people hyped, especially with people who actually do like Hangman Adam Page. So it was a good starting match for everyone to get them, hyped up and back into the groove. as you would say, with having a live crowd back. But yeah, as I said, it sets up the dissension between Team Taz and Brian Cage, and that would be interesting. Do you think, especially if it's a match between Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, that I think would be a pretty awesome match. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I think so. That differing dynamic, yeah, sure, I think so.
But yeah, I just like it because obviously Brian Cage is like what can he do with him, and obviously Team Taz needs a bit of a shake up because obviously it's kind of like it doesn't win a lot. I've noticed like barely had any wins, you know. So yeah, but yeah, good opener. What 12 minutes I think they gave it. So
yeah, it flew by. It only felt like 5 minutes. And that was a surprisingly short match. No, it went for 12 minutes. Very enjoyable. Yeah,
I think it's good 12 minutes. I can see why they put this on first. Cause it's just like. Just gets, they've got good chemistry going on as well. Like they work together quite nicely. So yeah, good opener. So so obviously next we'll talk about the AEW Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks going against Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Again, this is kind of a feud that started off with the whole the Young Bucks turning heel. Well, as they say, revealed their true selves. That I guess it's much easier to hate the Young Bucks than it is to like them when they're acting like heels anyway. But it's one of those things, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's just basically a simple thing of he still has issues with Kenny Omega. Then the Young Bucks turned on him, so now he has issues with the Young Bucks. And then for the last couple of weeks, it's just been a feud between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston trying to get his hands on Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And it turned into this tag team match that is a question for, should it be for the tag titles, though, or should it just be a normal tag match?
Well, if it's on pay-per-view, I think you've got to go for the tag titles. For sure, especially if... how many matches... I don't think they had many on Dynamite as a tag team. I don't think Moxley and Kingston, unless they just built it up on Dark or Dark Elevation, whatever it's called.
When he had that weird match where he had the Nakazawa... Not Nakazawa. You know they're kind of... what's his name? Yeah, I think, like kind of one of their goons that they have on, like, being the Elite.
Brandon Cutler.
No, the other one.
Michael Nakazawa?
That's the one, yes. I did get it right. I'm just double-checking, Got to double-check. But, yeah, apparently he's getting, he's holding all the titles. He's getting a bit cocky. But, yeah, they had a tag team match between him and Kenny Omega once. So I think it's been kind of building between just the Elite in general. But I think, again, it's just like you've got Jon Moxley, we know is great. Eddie Kingston, I'm loving their kind of back and forth between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. It shows true friendship that I kind of like.
Absolutely, they have that natural chemistry, yeah.
But I'm loving I got to be honest, it's just nice to see the Young Bucks have a consistent character trait now, and not just bouncing around between being a good guy and a kind of like, arrogant and kind of good,
Yeah. I wish they kind of cut down. I know they not necessarily blur the lines, so they completely like break the kind of fourth wall of like kayfabe all the time. They do it on BTE, which is all fine. But when you're on TV, go, oh yeah, we're heels now. It's like we know, show, don't tell. We understand how the industry works.
We watch enough of it. We read enough of it. I think we've got a kind of good knowledge of it. Obviously, we're not.
We think we know this is predetermined. Yeah.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Well, they just admitted, we're playing the bad guys now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you gotta be mean now. Gotta be nasty. But so it's a good stuff here. So one thing I put in my notes that we could talk about. Obviously, Jon Moxley. Obviously, having now talk about it. Got new music. I think Wild Thing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure about Wild Thing because I really liked his Violent Idol theme, Unscripted Violence, I think it was called. But listening to that new entrance music, Wild Thing, with the crowd singing, and as they're coming through the crowd, was awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah, it's similar to Orange Cassidy's one. Like Orange Cassidy's thing. It's like everyone just like. It's. I think it's one of these music by itself. It'd be weird, but with the crowd back, it's just like now I get why they use that theme. Yeah, it makes sense now. But yeah, I mean so I've just thought I noticed it because obviously it's we thought it was just a New Japan thing. Maybe it's his New Japan theme, but no, it's a new theme. So I'm going to be listening to Wild Thing for a long time, and with them all going on the road next month, it's going to be really cool. So, but anyway, so I guess we go straight into this match. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston were not playing around at this point. Even I think when the Young Bucks were doing their kind of signature pose with the graffiti or the
streamers,
or what are they called? Yep, and then just tacked him straight out the gate. You know, Eddie Kingston even done like a thing where he like dived through the second rope and attacked the Young Bucks. You know, that I didn't know he could do, but apparently it's a thing.
Oh yeah.
Never knew Eddie Kingston could do that. Maybe. Just fighting on the outside, all that kind of stuff. We had John Moxley fighting with was it Matt Jackson? Am I right? Oh, Nick, through the crowd. That was really cool. I feel sorry for Cutler because it's not his fault, but he's on the wrong side with getting a nice thing like a combo clothesline, but German suplex combo by.
I believe it's called a violent crowd. I think it's called, or violent crowd, something like that. Yeah.
Is that the actual name for it? Yeah, I didn't pick that up, but yeah, violent crowd. That's actually good. That's a really cool name. But yeah, so that's a cool finisher. But yeah, poor Cutler. You know, poor him. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
He's got no choice but to kind of to stick with. But come on, it's kind of what he's there for anyway. But yeah, so obviously then we finally got the match started because obviously this all happened before the match started. And obviously, just as you can expect, John Moxley and Eddie Kingston was in control at this point. You know, it was basically them in control for most of it. And then obviously later on in the match, we had obviously surprised that the Good Brothers turned up because it's kind of how the Elite work, don't they? They're kind of their running buddies always turn up near the end. You got Carl Anderson come out, kind of to distract. Then you had if you weren't paying attention, you would see Eddie Kingston doing a cannonball off the apron, taking out Gallows. That I thought was really cool. It's like you're focusing on one thing, and then Eddie Kingston's like, "Nice try. I see what you're doing. I know what's happening here." And it's like an awesome cannonball, right?
Yeah, awesome cannonball, and of course Frankie Kazarian comes down to make the save as well, taking out Anderson. Kazarian obviously was a long-time tag team partner with Christopher Daniels, also part of SCU. They had a match against the Young Bucks, and throughout the whole year, Kazarian and Christopher Daniels had the stipulation: next time we lose, we're going to break up as a tag team. And of course, they have the showdown with the Bucks, and they lose. As a result, they have to break up. But during that match, there was a run-in from the Good Brothers, from Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. So Frankie Kazarian is obviously very pissed off with them. So he comes down to even the odds.
Wouldn't you be?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, to be fair, I'm liking a few because obviously we own a Frankie Kazarian. He's really good in the ring, so I think he could do a single one. And also one thing, anyone listening, definitely check out. I think the Being the Elite kind of episode after that, because there's a really, really emotional promo by Christopher Daniels that I think people should check out. Really really plays on the heartstrings, Really, it's really upsetting, but in a good kind of wrestling way. If that makes sense. But yeah,
doesn't know if it's going to be the last time or not.
But yeah, so maybe that's a feud. But yeah, so that happens. So obviously now it's back. Yeah, but so then after that it was just basically, obviously the Young Bucks got back. After that distraction, I might add, obviously we had was it Matt Jackson hit the like a spray or whatever they were using to kind of hot spell something in John Moxley's face, and then used it to hit him in the skull, and then looks like it could be a cheating win for the Young Bucks, but John Moxley kicked out. It wouldn't be a John Moxley match without some sort of bleeding involved. So what a shocker. Guess who was the one bleeding? John Moxley, because he loves that stuff. It's kind of his MO, isn't it? We had a cool looking like Meltzer driver to John Moxley on the stage. Yeah, at this point obviously John Moxley was all over the place. He was just kind of got a crimson mask, he's out of it. Young Bucks in control. We even had a nice little, what a shocker, kind of mocking of his Shield days and Roman Reigns, with doing the whole salute, and then kind of doing the Roman Reigns kind of like setup for the powerbomb. But obviously John Moxley was not having any of that because he respects the Shield. And also then after that, obviously we got John Moxley got back into it. Got this double German suplex on the Young Bucks, but it's like, I don't know why even Nick or Matt was like, I'll go for a suplex, or I'll go and hold my brother, and he takes his brother with him. I was like, oops. Yeah, maybe next time just hold the ropes, that'll work.
So there's double German. We have the big hot tag for Eddie Kingston. Eddie is also very hot with the crowd. They start chanting for Eddie. We've got Insecure and a DDT from him. However, Kingston's leg is targeted in the match, or his knee rather. So his knee is taken out, followed by a sliced bread, more knees. Nick Jackson goes for a senton, but it was a swanton. But Eddie Kingston manages to get his knees up. At which point John Moxley is then tagged back in. There's so John Moxley is tagged in. We have a bunch of super kicks, a sleeper hold. We have a 450 from Nick Jackson, which is very well executed. We have a Meltzer driver attempt, which is countered, followed by a violent crowd, which is also countered, followed by another Meltzer driver. We have the shoes come into play by Moxley and Kingston. They use it in a doomsday device maneuver, which is very good to see. We have plenty more counters as well. I believe we have Nick Jackson, who counters a paradigm shift, so John Moxley's signature DDT into a sharpshooter as Matt Jackson holds Eddie Kingston on the outside.
But yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's like that could have been the finish of the match. To be fair,
it could have been, but I don't see John Moxley tapping.
No, but I don't know when it comes to these guys, it's a possibility. But yeah, but if not in a normal match, that would be a finish, because obviously holding off the opponent to try and stop them from tapping, that would all be a finish. But as you said, John Moxley would not tap. So, but then after that, he got out of it, and then he finally hit a paradigm shift on Nick Jackson. I think it was Nick Jackson for a near fall, and then Young Bucks doing a super kick party as you expect. But they had this cool moment when John Moxley got up at one, and had the face of a crazy man with bleeding face everywhere. It was actually a really cool moment. It shows how badass John Moxley could be.
Yeah, his eyes glaring is a little throwback to Revolution. Was it 2 years ago where Kenny Omega kicked out of one of the what's their knee strike they call the
BT trigger?
BTE trigger, that's the one. Yeah, kicks out of one, followed by a huge pop. So similar vibes with that. Moxley, just crimson mask, his eyes are glaring. He looks like an absolute lunatic. Lunatic fringe, I guess.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, we don't say that word though, do we? We don't mention that to John Moxley, do we? He's kind of forgot that past life. But yeah, and after this, it was just Young Bucks like, crap. So then he started hitting super kicks to everyone, as you expect. And then the match kind of ended with Young Bucks kind of hitting not one, not two, not three, but 4 BT triggers to John Moxley. I mean, you can take one, maybe take two, but 3 or 4, you're out of it, right? It's the end of the match. So, and then John Moxley was out, got the pin, got the win. So, Young Bucks are still the tag team champions. I did see some stuff online, people saying should maybe John Moxley and Eddie Kingston maybe won here, because there were times when it looked like they were.
Potentially, you could have had this match going either way, but I think they're trying to build on the domination from the Elite. He who has the power has the gold. He has the gold, has all the power. And at the moment, the Elite hold pretty much most of the gold, the tag team titles, and Kenny Omega pretty much holds all the world titles.
Pretty much. I mean, we saw them all. Obviously, we talk about them at the Triple Threat, but yeah, we saw them all. He's actually brought them to the show for a change. That was nice. But yeah, he's got all the gold. All the gold's in the Elite. But who do you think's going to take that title from then? Who do you think's going to take the tag titles from?
I'm not quite sure. Obviously, there's loads of tag teams. It was nice to see. It's kind of like a tie-in from the Casino Battle Royal to the next match coming up. Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman in particular was very, very popular. So maybe are they called the Varsity Blondes or the Hollywood Blondes? I believe they're called potentially, but I think they've already had a match. I think they've already had a match against the Young Bucks. Would be surprised.
I think so. I think they had I think they have. I don't know who. Obviously, I knew who number one. SCU were number one contenders obviously before they got beat. So I'm not quite sure who's number one now. But my first feeling, obviously, to talk about the next match in a bit. I'm thinking of the Jurassic Express. I think they would be great tag champs. They've got momentum for it. But if they were gonna, I don't know. It feels like the tag team championships, like it's cooler on the Young Bucks, but they seem to be like, mate. Is it right to say I don't want to see holding them down, but it might be better for the tag division that maybe given to somebody else and they can continue doing their thing with the Elite and all that, because it feels like they're kind of added on sometimes. Like this match didn't, as you said, could have. It's good, put the titles on the line, but if you took the titles away from them, it still had the same thing, if you know what I mean.
I'd quite like to see, potentially FTR have another run, especially with the Pinnacle, or maybe with the Inner Circle, with jumping ahead slightly Santana or Ortiz maybe have a go, have a run, because I don't think any of the Inner Circle apart from Jericho have held any gold at all.
Oh no, I mean, I think no, they haven't. I've got to be honest to you. Santana Ortiz would love to see them as tag champions because again, they put on some ever since AEW has existed. They're put on some spectacular matches, so I think they kind of deserve a run.
Yeah, maybe even best friends as well, whether that be Trent and Chuck or a combination of Chuck and Orange.
I mean, I'm against that. I mean, to be fair, that's what I mean. It's like tag divisions so rich with like respectable kind of tag teams but I just don't think. I don't know who's going to take them off them, but yeah, I wouldn't surprise if they keep their titles for maybe next pay-per-view. I think was it all out? Is it all out next one?
Yeah, in Chicago. CM Punk return confirmed. No.
No, nice try. But yeah, so I hope so. But again, it's again 2 good openers, really good matches. Really, with Young Bucks, you got to take some of their stuff with a pinch of salt because they are going to go overboard with most stuff they do because it's the Young Bucks. But it's one of those things you can get around it. So, but yeah, good. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Good opening 2 matches. So, yeah. So obviously next we're going to talk about the Casino Battle Royal or Royale if you want to be specific. Yes, obviously this is, I think it's 21. I think 20 participants and 1 Joker, like 1 surprise. If I remember how the rules are, if I'm correct. Yep.
So you'll have your 5 groups, 5 cards. So you've got 5 in the spades, 5 in the hearts, 5 in the clubs, and so on, 5 in the diamonds, and then you've got the final Joker. And coincidentally, it's always the surprising or debut entrant that always draws the Joker. Funny how that works. Again, it's like wrestling is predetermined or something. But,
is it?
So they all come in. They have little mini entrances. They have like their entrance music playing like during the match, which is a little bit distracting. So your first group you had in your spade, you had Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, who made his debut a year ago at no slipping this time. However, he was eliminated first, so he's not had the best record with the Battle Royal.
He's not Mr. Battle Royal, is he?
No, unfortunately he's not. Powerhouse Hobbs was in there as well. Dustin Rhodes and Max Caster, who did a little John Cena rap.
Well, I put in my notes sick burn, especially the one with the Christian one that I find funny when he kind of burns saying you're nothing without the edge or like without edge, and it's like even Christian's like, wait, I don't get it. It's like I don't get the burn. It's like, but yeah, I mean, to be fair, they're a bit hit or miss. These kind of raps, don't it? Like sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but
yeah, there's a lot of build up, I guess, like because he's got the headphones on. I'm not quite sure if he's listening to music, listening to that beat, or he's just trying to freestyle it and think on his head. But there's a lot of space in between, so there's a lot of yo. Just get on with it. Just know what your fucking rap is.
I know, but some of the burns are quite close to home, right?
I've heard spicier.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's at least he's got something that's interesting. At least you kind of keep an eye on it. But yeah, so just thought, yeah, so he done that, and obviously, I think he eliminated the first. I think he said Sardell. And then obviously Christian Cage eliminated him. So he didn't last long in the match.
No, and he had a very awkward landing as well. I'm not quite sure whether that was legit or not, but he kind of landed on the apron and then it looked like he was safe and then just rolled to the outside, holding his knee. So unless it was a very, very good sell, otherwise I thought he actually genuinely hurt himself.
Well, isn't his partner out? If I remember, his partner's out for a while, isn't he? That's why he's doing the singles thing. I might be wrong.
Well, I don't think so. Well, Anthony Bowen was later on in the match, wasn't he? As part of the Acclaimed. Is it the Acclaimed they're called?
Yeah. I must be thinking of another team. But anyway, yeah. So, so obviously next one was the Diamond group. That's always fun. As always, there's so many names in this group. I'm not even going to attempt to try. So I'm going to leave it to you to just kind of do that because you're way better at it than I am.
I think I've got a name missing on here. I've got Matt Hardy, obviously, in there. I think you've got Isaiah Cassidy in there as well. Preston Vance, or 10, as part of the Dark Order. Nick Comoroto, who is a big hairy guy, looks a bit of a beast. Followed by Serpentico, who came in, I believe, to replace the injured Blade from the tag team Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny. We had an awesome spear from Comoroto to 10. That looked brutal. That was very good. Lots of momentum behind that. Unfortunately, again, they didn't last too long because Dustin Rhodes, using his veteran experience, manages to eliminate both Comoroto and Preston Vance at the same time. It is then we have the Hearts come in, and this is when Hardy came in. No, it wasn't. No, Hardy and Cage had a little face. Hardy and Cage had a little face-off. So we had a little revival of their classic Edge and Christian Hardy Boys rivalry, which is quite nice. Garrison and Pillman, the Blondes, came in with Colt Cabana, Anthony Bowen, the other member of the Acclaimed, and Penta El Zero Miro, who was hitting the spam button for the Zero Miro catchphrase. He must have done this about 5-6 times in the match, quite a number of times. But
to be fair, he had a good costume. No, I mean that Joker costume was pretty sweet. That dressed up as the it was especially with the whole ha 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 on the side of his mask. I think it looked really cool. But yeah, I think one thing I think did you talk about the bit where was it Dustin got hit by his own cowbell that sets up a match probably next week. I think by was it Nick Casanzaro?
Nick Comoroto.
Yes, because obviously that sets up a bulwark match we're going to have on next week. So, but yeah, and obviously just thought I'd point it out because just in case you missed it. But again, it's going to be a lot of delays here because obviously trying to sort out some technical issues. So if you did, I apologise. But where were we? So yes, obviously after that, Hobbs eliminated Dusty Rhodes.
And then we had the Spades, the final group to come in before the Joker. The Spades consisted of the winner Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy being very popular, especially with his theme song. The crowd were going nuts, singing along to his entrance music. We had Mark Quinn come in as part of the Hardy family office as well. Aaron Solo, also another replacement. He came in for the injured QT Marshall. Evil Uno of the Dark Order was involved in the Spades, as well as Big Shotty Lee Johnson came in as well.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, so we had I think Pento and kind of Jungle Boy fighting as well. But as you said, spamming the kind of going a bit overboard with it. But Jungle Boy wasn't having any of it. We had Lee Johnson eliminated Aaron Solo, and then Matt Hardy eliminated Lee Johnson. He got, at this point, I point out that's his third elimination. So looks like at this point, maybe Matt Hardy was gonna, he was a favourite to probably go and win it because he was eliminating everyone, especially with his crew in there with him, helping him out, making sure he doesn't get eliminated type stuff. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed that Evil Uno got eliminated quicker than he did. I would have liked him to stay in a little bit more, because not a lot of it was it at that point. It was like I think Colt was already got eliminated at this point, and I think it was like I want a bit more of the Dark Order because obviously they're really entertaining. So I would like them to be maybe in the final 4, final 5 maybe, but that's just a personal preference.
We ended up with a Hardy family office 3-on-2 against a team of Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. However, then we had the Joker to come in to even the odds. No, it wasn't CM Punk. No, it wasn't Daniel Bryan. It was from a cruiserweight champion, Leo Rush.
Yeah, I mean, we're all shocked.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. Short but very, very sweet appearance from him. Dashing around the place is incredibly quick. He's very much like a cat-like reflexes there. Poison Rana, of course, we have a Spanish Fly. I think we only had one Spanish Fly throughout the night, which was nice, and a standing one at that. Yeah.
Only one. Yeah. Oh, come on, we need two. But yeah, so he really did. Yeah, it's kind of like a test, he comes in, shows how amazingly agile and quick he is, and then before you could blink. Matt Hardy being the buzzkill, eliminated him. You're just like, oh, God's sake, Matt Hardy, come on, don't be that guy.
There's some really good work from Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy working together, kind of holding each other up, like holding each other upside down, laying on each other's, or one of them laying on each other's backs on the apron to kind of save themselves. Some really good athleticism on display there.
Tried it once, but they tried it twice. That I found funny. The first time it worked, and then the second time it didn't work, and it caught them both out. Because obviously you got, was it Christian Cage eliminated, I think, eliminated one of them, and then obviously Jungle Boy done a super kick and eliminated the other. So, and then we got to the final three. I think it was was it Jungle Boy, Christian, and Matt Hardy. I don't know why Matt Hardy thought that Christian would be on his side. I mean, how did he fall for that? He's supposed to be quite clever, but I'm assuming we're talking about a guy that basically put all his earnings in a match and lost. So you can't be that clever. So, but yeah, obviously, as you said, like it seems like Team Extreme, or like the old Attitude Era days, teaming up against Jungle Boy, but Christian Cage turned on him, chucked him over the top rope, and we're down to the final two of Jungle Boy and Christian. A good back and forth, this one. I mean, it was just like, again, Jungle Boy, at this point we were like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
We like a bit. Jungle Boy is in Battle Royals. I think we forget about the Tag Team World Cup. Is amazing. So, yeah, good stuff there. It got interesting there when they fighted on the apron. Some cool moves back and forth there. We had a bit with, what was it? We done like a thing where he flipped, or he kind of like swung around the ring post to avoid elimination.
And narrowly avoiding the kill switch on the apron as well, which he managed to do. But yeah, going round the post like that. But Kofi Kingston would be proud of that save, I think.
Don't be surprised if we see a copy of that in the next Battle Royale. You'll see WWE say try and do that. Kofi will be like, oh, that's a good idea. I might make that. But yeah, obviously as you expect, as he came back in the ring and then just I think it done a back body drop on Christian. He went over the top rope, and Jungle Boy is the number one contender for the AEW World Championship that will happen in 2 weeks. So with my predictions, I put Christian Cage because it seems like that's the way they were going. But it's that saying that they say, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
It was nice to have World Championship opportunities given to those who haven't been world champions. So young up and comers, it'd be really good for them rather than just relying on old veteran talents. Getting that fine mix of obviously got world class athletes and established names, but also elevating those. I want to say indie darlings as a kind of not derogative term, but this kind of popular young upcoming wrestlers, really giving them that time. Look at Darby Allin, for example. Very popular wrestler. He was given a few world title opportunities against Jericho and Moxley that really elevated him, feuding with Cody Rhodes and eventually winning the TNT Championship. Yeah,
and I perfectly like his Owens Cassidy against Chris Jericho, that really elevated him. So, yeah, I think they are giving them the shot. If you want to be considered a world championship material, you've got to put them in world championship matches and see how they perform. So, yeah, I like that thing right at the end where Christian was kind of getting tense. You go really proud of him and kind of veteran move and kind of say, go on, now you got to go and beat him, go and win now. So that kind of that respect, because you would think, I like the idea with Christian Cage. They're not he wants the world title, but they're not just giving it to him. They're letting him work his way up, and he loses now and then. That I kind of like as well. It's he's willing to take the L, especially in this one.
Yeah, the worry that I had with the last couple of, especially when Jon Moxley was champion, they'd always put him up against the guys who'd literally just come in the month before into that world title feud. They don't really have too much time to build them, but then they've just given them a super duper push only for them to just fall back down the card. They did a really good job actually with, say, Brody Lee, the late great Brody Lee, becoming a great TNT champion, and Brian Cage, FTW champion. Now he looks like he's going to break away from, or potentially breaking away from Team Taz. So it still made them look strong, but again, there is that danger of them just being brushed under the carpet when they're having that big elevated push when a new guy comes in.
Yeah, I think that was because at the time they're just bringing all these guys in, and I think John Moxley, I think they're just how do we make it incredible? Okay, we'll put them against the world champions, see what they do, instead of kind of building them up slowly. I think they've kind of learnt their lesson from that. I think because obviously now I think Kenny Omega's challenges are quite don't lose any credibility for him losing to Kenny Omega. So, but yeah. So talk about yes. Now we had 3 good good consistent kind of matches. Now we get on to a match that I have strong feelings about. Obviously, I'm talking about the single match between Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo, if I pronounced that correctly. The problem I have with this story is why did it have to be this thing when it's US versus UK type storyline? Yeah. I get why, because it's Memorial Day there when they on Sunday, but isn't that kind of trope kind of dated? That kind of stuff where America's great in the evil foreigner. Isn't that kind of dated kind of storyline?
Yeah, it's kind of dated. I mean, Cody's kind of a big fan of the kind of sporting kind of aspects of the business. So having that kind of weigh in, as Anthony Ogogo used to do with his boxing career, especially with the Olympics, trying to really hype it up. I think this was like the go home segment. I think on Dynamite says, okay, this is a big deal. Yeah. And this match is given like 10 minutes, and it's I wasn't buying into it really. I wasn't. I mean, I quite liked, obviously, Cody's attire coming into the ring was really cool. I liked the for a change, and because they're playing on the whole this is America, this is America's values, taking that name American Dream for that one night. Cool. You could have changed it on the Titantron because it still said American Nightmare. Like, come on. Just does it really? Didn't have time to do that. No, didn't have time to do that.
Didn't have time apparently today. $1 million wrestling company didn't have time to change the name. But yeah, I think my problem is it's just like I get why they did it in that sense, but for me, what bothers me is just they didn't have to. They had a perfect storyline of just a betrayed student that he wanted to get revenge for. And if this was kind of to put over a Go-Go, as like he looks threatening. I mean, would you say, I wouldn't say failed, but he hasn't exactly got a good kind of start. Really, they tried, but it seems like hasn't really worked yet.
No, it hasn't quite worked yet. Although I think they're on the right lines, especially with his kind of moveset, especially from the early going. So he lands a giant body shot on Cody, so similar to what he'd do for his boxing. He's a heavy striker. That's one of his weapons, one of his specialties, and it hits an Olympic slam. He's an Olympian, so that makes sense. But apart from that, there's nothing really here that I can really kind of connect with. I didn't really buy into the hype of the match, even though it had all that big go-home build of big fight field press conference / weigh-in.
I was invested. I see what I mean. Yeah, maybe it might be. I mean, I know people might criticize and say, well, I know why you don't like it, because the Brits were the bad guys and you're just really bitter. It's like, no, I wasn't really. I think Cody in general, his feuds the last couple of months for a while have been a bit meh. Yeah. I haven't had one that's really grabbed me yet. I don't know if you're the same, but ever since I think he lost the TNT championship to Darby, he's been a bit all over the place when it comes to his feuding. I don't know what he's doing half of the time. Yeah,
I think he's promoted on like kind of the big, I think, attraction kind of matches. So he had that match, the kind of celebrity fight, I guess, trying to get those names in to better the brand, I guess, or get the brand out there. So that fight with Shaq, for example, the tag team match. Anthony Ogogo, obviously being a former Olympian. It's kind of even his feud. I think his last great feud, probably apart from the mutual feud with Darby, was good. But the last great feud was with MJF. Like the build up to that was great. So the lashings and the dive off the cell. But the match itself was very underwhelming.
I don't know. It's just I feel like I don't know if he's focusing on other things and the wrestling's kind of come secondary. But I just feel I haven't seen a good feud from him recently.
No, he cuts a really good promo. He can build things really well, but the match itself falls flat. Yeah,
I mean, he's good at building it up, like building up the kind of match. But then when he actually gets to the match, it's always, he said, underwhelming and just doesn't really deliver most of the time anyway. But yeah, I don't know. But I mean, he had like Gogo doing frog splashes on top. It was really cool. He had a figure 4 leg lock. We got we didn't. Funny thing is, it shows this match gave so little time. We didn't even get a crossroads. Crossroads wasn't even in the finish.
Crossroad it was a vertebreaker, which looks even more awkward to set up than the one winged angel.
Especially when was it on the back, the way he said it went. But I just don't. I mean, people listening, just like, I don't know how much to explain this match. It was just 10 minutes of just, a crowd weren't really into it. You can probably put, nothing really crazy happened. And it just ended. Like, you would have thought he would have got a crossroads and got the win, but it just ended. And that was it. And it's like, oh, okay. So, Cody gets the win, yay to America. And it's like, the other guy, like, what did he get from it? Did he look good? Like, do you think there's something there, or?
I thought they would just play up to more of the boxing side of things with Ogogo. Maybe he'd do a few more like liver shots. So can Cody continue with that injury, that internal injury? Do we have a knockdown kind of thing? So Cody Rhodes is knocked out. Something potentially that kind of turn with that match. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what Ogogo, apart from he wrestled Cody, I don't see what Ogogo gets out of it.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just like what is it? I know there's a feud between like the Nightmare family and the Factory, as they're called. QT Marshall's kind of C-list group or B-list. I would say probably C-list, but it's like he's basically turned against him, and he's basically, I think he's lost twice. Like they haven't beat anyone like yet. Like no one in the family at all. So it feels a bit like you've got to give the guy a win at some point. Like, come on, it's like it's supposed to be this like split of like a faction. Isn't it supposed to be this team that's split, like a win now and then? Against maybe Cody can give the rub maybe to some in the group, maybe. Yeah, potentially.
Something definitely needs to change, because like it's almost sort of like Cody wins, lol.
It's the kind of stuff that you would if this might be unfair, like if this happened in WWE, we'd be slaughtering them right now if they did something like this.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we? Kind of. I think we sometimes are like, well, it's AEW, they're different. It's like when you do kind of old like kind of tropes like that, WWE do the same. It's just but I hope it starts something. Maybe it might get more interesting, but I kind of doubt it. I just hope Cody needs to figure out a feud that he can sink his teeth into. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Or a change in attitude. Maybe. Maybe should he turn heel? But then again, he's becoming. They're doing the whole thing. Son of a plumber, or grandson of a plumber, to be. So I was like, you can't really boo that.
I mean, to be fair, you can if they really wanted to do it, they could always do a thing where they go, okay, he goes away, he hates his kid, he comes back, everyone turns on him, and like he can say, well, I try to be myself, and you hate me for it, so I'm not going to hate you. And I know he wants a feud with Sting.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. So I think that maybe that might be the match. That might be interesting.
Yeah, there's a time with Darby Allin there as well. So
I'm not against it. I mean, to be fair, that would be a more interesting kind of feud than kind of what they're doing with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. No offense, but it's not doesn't grab me yet. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get into that match. But nothing crazy here. So I guess we just move on. Next, we're going to a match that again kind of felt put together. I found anyway. With the obviously AEW TNT Championship match between Miro and Lance Archer. Obviously, Miro won the title from Darby Allin, I think, a couple of weeks ago, in a pretty, I wouldn't say one-sided, but for me, it always felt like it's cool he won, but I always think shouldn't he have probably had the match here?
Yeah, Lance Archer has been just kind of waiting in the wings, like the last couple of matches, especially I think against Darby. Where he's won the title, he's just kind of waiting like, I'm next. It's like, well, have your title shot? Yeah, just take it then. But then Miro comes in, wins, and then Lance Archer's just on the sideline again, like me. Just take your opportunity, like straight away.
I know, it's just, and now it's like all of a sudden, like, he takes it and he goes against Miro, and it's just like, oh, this is awkward. I was going after the other guy, but okay, we'll go for this title. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like it was kind of put together on the fly.
Yeah. Before the match, we had there was a weigh-in. This is an annoying thing as well. They had the weigh-in for the women's match, and then they had a different storyline coming to interrupt, which had absolutely nothing to do with that feud. Miro just comes in, and I don't know why Jake the Snake Roberts was there. Miro just lands a cheap shot on Jake the Snake, makes a run for it. But during the Baker and Shida weigh-in, don't know why. Because just attacked him backstage, maybe. Why there?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It did feel a bit. I mean, I get it. Take out. Maybe you could. I think the story they were going here without kind of what Jake the Snake, kind of Lance Archer is kind of, maybe he's lost his kind of that kind of support maybe. So maybe him off his game. I guess and it was what they're trying to go for, like trying to distract him. But again, this was quite short as well. I think it was like only 10 minutes. It's just had some cool spots. You had what was it? I think Lance Archer slam Miro through the table, a random table that's on the outside, as you know. If it's there, if there's a table there, someone's got to go through it. So we had that. We had a nice, was it Miro hitting a belly to belly suplex? His phone in was it hit? I think if it was Miro hit the belly to belly suplex on Lance Archer, or was it the other way around? I can't.
Yeah, that's right, and then launched him over the railing.
Yeah, then launched him back. That I found quite funny. Put him in there. Belly to belly onto the crowd, then go out and then put him back in. It's like, no, you're not getting a rest. Not when I'm finished with you, type thing that I like. But it said the same with the match with the Cody match. I don't think the crowd were really into this one. I don't think. I
think they may have been exhausted from the first two matches because they were solid, and the Battle Royal was pretty long as well. Yeah,
I mean, it feels like a match that I don't want to say harsh. Like, should it been on the card? Maybe it could have been a good, cool match to put on. Maybe Dynamite. Maybe.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, in hindsight, I can kind of understand why they put Darby and Sting together because they wanted to show that Sting still had it. So the title change card made sense. But I think maybe it was probably just placement. I guess. Anyway, we had Miro grabbing Lance Archer's singular kind of dreadlock, but continues to kick him over and over again. We have a helicoaster from Lance Archer. He then attempts a moonsault, which he misses, followed by a roundhouse kick and a full-away slam from Miro. At this point, we have, again, you see the pattern here. We have attacks or going at each other straight away. It even happened in Ogogo and Cody. It happened in a tag team match. It happened with Paige and Cage. You have an attack early on. There's no waiting around. They get straight at it. And then towards the end, we have a run-in of some kind. And this match is no exception. We have Jake the Snake Roberts comes in, presumably with a snake in the bag. However, we don't know because of animal rights and shit. Yeah, because of animal rights. So yeah, Miro gets the bag, launches it up the stage to a big boo from the crowd because that poor snake that was in the bag.
Yeah, I put that on my notes. I put that on my notes. And said boo. So yeah, don't be mean, Miro. Don't be mean. But and obviously after that, Miro just attacked Jake the Snake. I think he was going to hit him with one of them kicks. I think hit him with something. I can't remember. But yes, obviously you had what was it? Lance Archer choke slammed him and tried to go for his finisher. But Miro got out of it, and then we had like this really cool thing where I think Lance Archer did this amazing tackle,
shoulder block
that reminded me of. Do you remember Monty Brown, the Alpha in TNA? That used to be his signature move was called the tackle. That's what reminded me with that. Is like it got that kind of height as well. It was really cool. But and obviously after that we had Miro locked in. Match ending with they locked in the game over submission. Game over, and Lance Archer gets out, but then he locked it in again. But I think he put it in deeper, or he just pulled back. I think it was, and basically Lance Archer was out, and Miro was still TNT champion. But it was I think that underwhelming thing. It just it just didn't feel right.
I'd like to have seen the snake, but there we go. Otherwise, I don't really have too many thoughts on it, really. I mean, you probably could have built it up a bit more. Miro and Archer, or even have it as the big kind of main event for people to tune in to Dynamite on the Friday. Another match which was pretty underwhelming, I must say, even though it had the big kind of power moves that you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's fine. I mean, not everyone's gonna hit. Not every match is gonna be amazing, but yeah, I think it just it was kind of Miro won the title. It was so surprising, he's won the title, and then they thought put him in a feud that they couldn't really build. So hopefully, maybe it might turn into a feud that might get more interesting over time. So I don't know, and obviously you still got what's his name? He's his former tag team partner that's out. They might challenge him. There would be a kind of cool feud.
Kip Sabian.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Because you got to be honest, that again, maybe that's what he needs. But yeah, I'm happy he's won the title. But it's just like it felt like it's kind of they done it and then kind of had to put something together quickly for the pay-per-view. But hopefully after this, they kind of have a plan for him and then do something, make him become like a beast with that title. Because that'd be really awesome.
I hope so.
But yeah, I think we're 5 matches in. We've got through like halfway through, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got. Anyway, but yeah, we're almost there. We're halfway through. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break. Gonna hear from my little sponsor. We're probably gonna try and fix this audio issue because it's getting kind of hilarious trying to wait a couple of seconds to wait for a reply. So we're gonna take a quick break. This is from my sponsor, and we'll be back in a bit.
Do you experience digital eye strain from too much blue light exposure from digital screens? Baxter Blue glasses are not your average frames. These blue light lenses filter 80% of the highest energy blue light, eliminating 99% of glare. Baxter Blue glasses are not your average frames. These blue light lenses filter 80% of the highest energy blue light, eliminating 99% of glare. This past year, we have been glued to our devices more than ever. Watching professional wrestling, meeting up virtually with our friends. Meeting up virtually with our friends to watch professional wrestling. Watching professional wrestling and then meeting up with our friends virtually to record a podcast about it, etc. Our exposure to digital light has soared, and our eyes and our sleep are suffering as a result. Baxter Blue is also a force for good and provides a pair of reading glasses for someone in need for every pair sold. This is eyewear built for our digital age. And Baxter Blue is giving our listeners 10% off your next purchase of blue light, sleep, or kids' glasses. Click the link in our show notes for your exclusive discount. This is the sign you have been waiting for to invest in blue light glasses. We know that you will love your Baxters, and we know you will feel the difference.
So yeah, we're back from a little break. I think we fixed it, so hopefully it should be a bit better. But so we've got a little break, so let's dive in. We've got 4 more matches left to talk about, and they're all good, really good ones. So I can't wait to talk about them. I've got to be honest. Yeah. So so obviously next match that was on the card was the AEW Women's World Championship match between Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker DMD, if I pronounced that right, because I got a feeling she's okay. So so again, this was the kind of match that kind of a setup of kind of revenge in some ways, because the reason I think Britt Baker was out for so long for that long period was because of Hikaru Shida, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Hikaru Shida broke Britt Baker's nose, meaning she was out for a while, had to wear that face mask and kind of feigning the injury, kind of being around in that wheelchair. I believe so. Shida has had a reign of 372 days, the longest reign of a AEW Women's Champion. She also has a fairly new title, which was presented to her, I think, the week before, which was on the Go Home show. And with Baker going in, she's the right challenger for this. She's only ever lost once, I think, in her career. Well, technically, if you count, it's just the one against Nyla Rose, and that was in the tournament to determine the number one contender. Of course, she also lost to Thunder Rosa.
Semi-final, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. But she also lost in an unsanctioned match in that bloody warfare against Thunder Rosa, one of the match of the year contenders. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, and also kind of made her a kind of a badass. The typical, like, kind of, the picture of her, like, a face in a crimson mask, in that match.
Yeah. Very, very Becky Lynch vibes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the thing when it says, like, oh, okay, she want me to get to top of the rankings. All right, okay, I see where you're going with this. And then she went on, I think, Dark and then Dark Elevation, just kept racking up the wins to get to number one.
That's the way to do it.
So they used it. Yep, they used the rankings the way they should be used. When they can, when they want. But yeah, I guess a new talk about Cody, the new title belt. It looks better, right? It looks like more of an actual title now, right?
It's a little bit bigger. Yeah, it was ridiculously small last time round. Like, what is that? It looks like a bracelet. Like, come on.
I know. I mean, it's especially when they've looked at what they did with their world title, men's world title, and that thing looks absolutely amazing. But it does look better. Let's be honest, it does look like a title now. But yeah, I mean, again, it's Hikaru Shida's like, she's had it for, I think, for so long. It's like I've been thinking for a while. It's like, yeah, I think when I talk about it, it's like, who's going to take that title? It's like Britt Baker. She's been on a roll since she's come back from that injury. Promos have been great. Some of the matches have been really good.
She did that promo, I believe, on the Go Home show, saying in one era it was the era of 316. This is going to be the era of DMD, which I can see. And it is technically the start of. Because obviously she won this match, but we'll get into that and how that came about. So we had like the early kind of exchanges of finishers or finisher attempts. So you've got Britt Baker's lockjaw and the Tomashi by Shida, which were both countered. Shida is even more aggressive in this match than she usually is. She's usually pretty composed, but she's holding down Britt Baker using the body scissors, working on the back of DMD.
I mean, to be fair, some of those vicious shots she did, she said more aggressive. I mean, I think she done like 3 knee strikes to her, like proper like. I think ever since Revolution, I think when she had that match against, I can't remember her name, who won the tournament, like that, she's got more aggressive ever since that match. You know, so it's kind of a character change that maybe could turn into something really cool. Now that obviously the ending of the match. But yeah, we had some. We said work on the back. We had a lot of was it a stress muffler? I think it's called, kind of thing. Like she tried it once or twice in the match. Probably, as you said, working on the back. I said that right, I think. But yeah, so obviously looked at that a couple of times. We had Britt Baker go some she's done super kicks, sling blades, and then airway crash kind of thing, all in one. That just shows how amazing Britt Baker is. You know, kind of cool moves. There, since she locked in the, she thinks she actually got the lockjaw locked in once. I think she's got it a couple of times during the match. But Hikaru Shida got out. We got a superplex bit from the top that is really cool. Obviously we got your favourite submission name yet again. But this is where the match got a bit strange. When obviously Rebel was trying to get involved but failing to help up. She was actually being more of a hindrance than it was to actually help her partner.
That's right. Ending up whacking Britt Baker with the crutch, and Hikaru Shida hitting the Falcon Arrow for a close 2. And because of her shenanigans on the outside, the referee attempts to eject Rebel or Reba, whatever she's called.
Is it Rebel, not Rebel? Or something, that's what it says on the thing anyway. But yeah, and after that, Britt Baker took advantage of it, hit the curves. I think he used the title. I think he hit her with it first and then done a curve stomp onto the title. I mean, you could say that would have been a good finish, personally. I mean, it could have been, because then it could have been a setup, but maybe 1 or 2 false finishes. But that was really cool.
Yeah, you could have had a strong finish where if you wanted to protect Shida a little bit more, you could have had the curb stomp to the belt, locking in the lockjaw, but Shida passes out rather than taps out. If you want to protect Shida a little bit more, but otherwise, I think it was the right result. It needed a freshen up the division. We had another lockjaw, followed by a roll up and a knee strike, and a Tomashi with another close 2. Crucifix pin, going into another lockjaw, which is fully applied. Shida has nowhere to go and taps out, and we have a new AEW Women's Champion.
Yeah, I mean, just as we said before, well deserved. I liked it. It felt like it was special. It felt like if anyone's going to take the title, it's got to be a big deal of Hikaru Shida, and it worked. And Britt Baker's, I think, again, we know she could definitely win the division, or maybe it's maybe the women's division go to new heights of her as champion. But so the question is, who she go against next? Obviously, he's going to probably have a rematch against Hikaru Shida. But, like, who in that division do you think's up there, maybe? Like, they could probably challenge her other than maybe Thunder Rosa, maybe?
Thunder Rosa, have that rematch, technical wrestling rather than hardcore wrestling. I think Rio's back, so maybe you want to do something with her, potentially. Or title versus title, like, later on down the line, I think. That could be pretty cool. NWA against AEW.
I'm surprised you haven't done more of that, personally. It seems like it's just kind of been a thing that they just mention it but don't do it. I wish they would do more of that. A bit more proper cross-promotion type stuff. But maybe it might change because obviously the country's open up a bit more so people can travel, so maybe they could do it. But yeah, I think really, really, could you sit there and say maybe top 5 women's matches they've had? Or do you think that's a bit too generous?
I'm trying to think of the... I can't think of top 5 matches. There have been some really good matches. But I can't think of 5 at the top of my head, so it'd probably be up there. Well, the majority of the matches include probably Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida. Most of them, I'd say.
Yeah, so it's the best 2 in the division by far. Probably like maybe Thunder Rosa, close 3. Maybe Nyla Rose as well.
Maybe Rio. Yeah,
she's back, as I said, back as well. So hopefully, apparently she has moved to the US, so maybe we might see more of her in the division. It would be quite nice because, ever since she lost that title, I don't think she's challenged for it again.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, I mean, they've done well. 2 years, they've built a division it's getting there. It's getting there. I think it's finally got, it finally feels like they're building something that could be amazing.
Hopefully, it's still a little bit bare, the women's division. So hopefully they just keep signing up new talent, making those new stars, whether it be on Dark and whether it be on Dynamite. Just get more and more names out there. Continue building that division. I want it to be that women's division should be as stacked as the tag division. As stacked as the tag division. There's got to be plenty of options.
Yeah, but I think it's getting there. Like, because obviously, I think there was one time in the first, Rio, yeah, like who was going to take that title from her, except for maybe Nyla Rose. Like who it was. Now it's like you got 3 or 4 contenders. I think I've said it before. It feels like it's slowly building up credible contenders for that title. So yeah, I got again. This is going to sound weird if you listen to this, but anyway. But next, let's go straight into the next match. Let's go on to the one we're talking about. Was it Darby Allin Sting teaming again? Was it first time Sting's been in a ring in a professional wrestling match for nearly 6 years, if I remember correctly? Ever since I think he went against Seth Rollins in that, I think, Clash of Champions.
Something like that, yeah, maybe,
or I think it was, or basically a long time ago, basically. But yeah, 2016.
That sounds about right.
2015, I can't remember. But yeah, so it's first time he's been in the ring. Got to get Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. They've obviously been the thorn in Darby Allin's side for a while. Basically, as always with Darby Allin, you've got to either chuck him somewhere, or do crazy stuff to him, because the guy is ridiculous. The kind of bumps he can take. I think he put him in a body bag and chucked him down the stairs.
Chucked him down the stairs, but they also chucked him elsewhere in this match. It's a fantastic moment where Ethan Page basically holds him up in this military press and just launches him over the rope, over the barricade into, I believe it was Darby Allin's family, so his brothers, I think they mentioned. That was a very cool, very much a holy shit moment.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we got like a pretty awesome spot right at the beginning of the match. Not the match, the beginning of the whole thing. I mean, if this was to showcase that, Sting Stu got it, bravo, because I think they've done a good job here, because right out the gate you had, was it Sky hitting like a suplex on the stage again? There seems to be they've done a lot of that spot now when I think about it, a suplex on the stage, but Sting got right back up. I think Sky was on top of the poker chip, gloating, but he wasn't gloating for long, because he turned around, Sting chucked him off there. Then Sting, was it first time we've seen him in actual like wing gear instead of a t-shirt? That was nice. And then I think he done a dive
I'm not seeing him cinematically either in a match, competing in front of a live crowd.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that if you put, maybe not in like a one-on-one match, maybe, but if you put him in a tag team match and let him do limited spots, he can still contribute, and it's shown here that he still could do some awesome stuff.
Absolutely, and demonstrating that out of the gate was the right call, because this was a long show. They need to get the crowd pumped. They couldn't just rely on Darby Allin to do all the heavy lifting for Sting. Sting had to get his offense in as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair enough, that just the match started and Sting was I think, building on that momentum. I think he's whipping Darby Allin back and forth between was it Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. That was really cool. He even hit running bulldog. That I know it's not amazing, but for a guy of his age, it's still pretty cool. I think that was really cool. Yeah, man. It was just. It said it was. I don't know. Just for how is he, like 64? He's in his mid 60s. I mean, Sting now, right?
The 61. Yeah.
Okay, 61. Okay. But yeah. But yeah, and obviously after that, we got this bit where Darby Allin was in control, but obviously Sky kind of tripped him when he was on top rope and kind of like knocked him down, and then obviously it was just Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky kind of in control. We obviously got a classic Attitude Era ref didn't see the tag moment. That's I always like seeing now and then, because
and Aubrey Edwards, I think it was too, who's the most reliable referee. Like, come on, Aubrey.
It's like, I know, right? It's just like even I was shocked. I think I've watched it. I was like, he did tag him and he didn't see it. It's like, and then after that, it kind of got yeah. And after that, yeah. But then you got your spot you were talking about, like Pepper, press slamming onto his brothers. It was kind of cool. I mean, if you're going to chuck him at anyone, chuck him at his family. The ultimate insult. But that was pretty cool. We had a bit where like Sting was conflicted. Like it was really close to a 10 count when Sting was conflicted. Do I bring him back in to get beaten down, or do I keep him out to live to fight another day? I kind of like that kind of conflict. It shows that he cares about the kid. Cares about the kid.
Yeah, that kind of conflict to get him back into the ring. Eventually, Darby Allin just pops up at 9 because he's ridiculously committed and a freak of nature. The amount of injury, the amount of bumps that he can take. I mean, yeah, he's still fairly a young man still, but you kind of question how long can he do that for? Because that's going to take a toll on his body the next few years or so. Yeah. So Ethan Page goes for the Ego's Edge with Scorpio Sky on the outside. Darby Allin manages to kick Scorpio Sky and intelligently hooks his leg on the turnbuckle to stop Ethan Page going for that signature. He managed to get Ethan Page in a chokehold, so clambering onto his back, leading into a stunner, leading to a big hot tag with Sting doing his signature splashes, even a sunset flip / Code Red. Code Red always gets a nice pop. I don't think we technically saw a destroyer, but that was the closest we got to it. So they're cutting those down, which is nice. So it was one Code Red and one sunset flip. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So God, this has got worse. But anyway, but yeah, after Cold Red, Darby Allin came in, and Darby Allin was kind of gone for the top. I think Ethan Page done a cheap shot on up at the top. We got a bit where he kind of power bombed Darby Allin onto Sting. He was on the floor. That was kind of cool. Then we got Sting? We got Scorpion Death. Was it Deathlock applied in? That was really cool. And then we had Darby Allin came in, hit an armbar. I think he was Scorpio Sky had an armbar onto Darby Allin, and we had this bit where they're both scratching each other's eyes, attacking each other. That's again, it's really cool because they both hate each other because they had battles in the past in the Indies, right? Ethan Page and Darby Allin. So. But was Aubrey Edwards? She had enough of this. She was like, "No, there's gonna be. I want 2 of the legal people in this match. You 2 get out." That kind of I kind of like. She's like, "We've got to sort this out." I think it was Scorpio Sky and Sting were the legal 2, if I remember. Then it just got Sting went for a Stinger splash. Scorpio Sky got out of the way. Then the finish was basically Scorpio Sky trying to go for that cutter over the top. you had Sting holding onto the rope, so he falls flat on his ass. Then out of nowhere, he hit a really cool Scorpion Death Drop. Again, the transition was really cool. And he got the pin and he got the win. So yeah,
there we go.
Loving it. Oh, to be fair, like it proves that they're using him correctly, Sting. You know, he's not doing too much, but when he does, he's doing it like maximizing what he can do.
Yes, and helping Darby out, even though Darby is over as it is. I think elevate him so Darby Allin is one day going to be a world champion. Maybe not in the near future, because he already mentioned that he mentioned that he wanted the TNT championship. That's the one he was after. So I think that's still his pursuit, still his goal, to potentially have a rematch against Miro and try and win back that championship. It was something that was sort of neglected in his first, I think, month holding it. He pointed out that he hasn't really defended it, and he's very disappointed about that. So he defended it pretty much each and every week from then on.
10 matches in a row, I think he done 10 title defenses if I remember what they said. So yeah, I mean, I felt like the story they're going for it. Hopefully he goes back to that and we have like a rematch against Miro, maybe, because I think there's a lot of story there that they could do with it. But yeah, again, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, it's like, again, it just feel, it's cool, but it feels like they've just, we don't know what to do with these guys.
Yeah.
Let's put them a tag team. Maybe they keep going, or maybe like Scorpio Sky would get another chance to go against Miro. Maybe say, well, we want the TNT championship, but so yeah, we just have to wait and see. So that ties in quite nicely to our next match we want to talk about, is the three-way or the triple threat match for the AEW World Championship with the champion Kenny Omega and the number ranked 1 and ranked 2 in the rankings, Orange Cassidy and Pac.
Yeah, so there was a tournament / number 1 contenders match between Pac and Cassidy. I'm not quite sure whether it was a legit injury or just kayfabe, but it looked particularly nasty anyway. Pac going for a avalanche kind of power bomb with Orange landing on the back of his head and neck. It looked very it's very uncomfortable to watch. The match was stopped, and Kenny Omega and Don Callis, they come down to the ring. Oh, that means because no one wins, I don't get an opponent, so no one has to face me. However, Tony Schiavone interrupts to announce that the AEW World Championship will be on, but it will be in a triple threat match. Of course, Omega and Callis are not particularly happy about this, because as we know with triple threat matches and any multi-man or multi-woman, multi-person contests, the champion does not have to be pinned, or the champion does not have to be submitted in order to said title. So what they do is they attempt to coerce, try to persuade Orange Cassidy to drop out of the triple threat, to make it a one-on-one against Pac. Omega has faced Pac before and has won in that fantastic Iron Man match. They give the contract to Orange to say, okay, just drop out. You'll have your title match at a later date once you're fully recovered, because it's important, for the brand, for AEW. You've got to sell merch. You can't do that, on the shelves. We need you to keep it fresh, or freshly squeezed, I guess. Orange Cassidy's response was to rip up the contract. And as a result, the triple threat match stays as it is scheduled. It was one of those matches that felt like the build-up was kind of different, where it's like we didn't know who Kenny Omega was going to go against, and all of a sudden that we found out that the rankings were like these two were top 2. So it was a bit weird, but yeah, it was just kind of what the story was in the last few weeks. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the match, it kind of was like a situation of Pac wanted to take out Kenny Omega. Kenny wanted to take out Orange Cassidy because he doesn't respect him, and obviously he's really pissed about what you just said about the whole thing ripping up his offer. And obviously Orange Cassidy want to take out Kenny Omega, and to kind of in the promo, like leading in, they were kind of going into the situation of, you do realise I beat Chris Jericho twice, right? You do realise that who I am, type thing. So we had something to prove in this match as well as win the title. So yeah, it was but it's I think, what do you think of the match as a whole? Because obviously it's like
second longest of the night, minus obviously the main event. What were your thoughts on it?
I think the triple threat match was ultimately a very good idea. I think we've been down the route of Kenny Omega and Pac before, but this gives again a freshly squeezed approach to it. Pac and Cassidy also don't get on. They had that match at, was it Revolution last year? A very entertaining contest. And Omega and Cassidy, it's clear that there's some tension, some rivalry there. You know, the whole sunglasses thing, that was Kenny's thing with the cleaner. Doesn't respect Cassidy for being, well, basically being orange, being laid back, being the lazy wrestler that he is. I think the triple threat match was a good idea, good dynamic. They all have history. They all have history with each other. They have completely different things to offer. They're completely different wrestlers. Pac is more, I guess, in keeping of kayfabe. A lot more. Omega kind of blurs the lines a little bit. You guess kind of cartoony sometimes. Whereas Orange Cassidy is what you'd say a comedy wrestler, turning into more of a legit fighter. Yeah,
it was just it was just one of those matches where you just kind of, even if the story wasn't exactly there, it was like you knew these three were going to put on some sort of, I wouldn't use the word clinic, but definitely an outstanding matchup. And let's be honest, they damn well did. I mean, this was absolutely an amazing matchup. I mean, the kind of combos they had of like good. I think all three men had a good, as in triple threats, they all have their own little time to shine. And I think like the chemistry between those three was evident. And it was just like the combos of movesets they kept doing, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I've got so many notes here of so many awesome like moves and all that they've done in this match.
Let's go through some of them.
But anyway, when it comes to the start off, it kind of the best. We had a moment where I think Pac and Kenny Omega kind of fighting. I think a mid-air collision, kind of like thinking of the same thing, both on the floor. And as you were saying about Orange Cassidy being a lazy wrestler, he kind of just came in and just slowly gave a pin to both Pac and Kenny Omega, because he wants to do the bare minimum. If he can win without doing much effort, he's a happy man. So, but he did try here. And after that we had these cool another moment where both Kenny Omega and Cassidy had the cliche kind of back and forth pin attempts. Like where you go for a pin, back and forth. They're both holding on to kind of each other, like trying to go for another pin, and then all of a sudden you've got Pac. Always keep an eye on Pac doing like a 450 splash on both Orange Cassidy and Kenny Omega. We got a lot of 4 or 5 V triggers by Kenny Omega. I mean, you think the Young Bucks do too many super kicks? Kenny Omega does like how many V triggers in matches? I do not know, but yeah, you had that kind of stuff. You had a cool moment when you got Orange Cassidy kind of like Kenny Omega was trying to do the Snapdragon off the top, and then he kind of like typical Orange Cassidy using his strength to slowly put his hands in his pockets and stops Kenny Omega from doing the suplex. But again, it had cool moments like this, man. It was just like. It's what I only think downside to this match, as some people point out that could be true, is that was it a bit longer than it should have been? Because it kind of did drag near the end. When you think,
if you had a match or two fewer on the card, I wouldn't mind it being as long as it was. What did it run for? Like 27 minutes, I think it was, but it didn't feel like it. It's similar to, similar to Paige and
I think so.
Paige and Cage. I thought that match was 5 minutes. It was double that time. This match, I thought it was 15, 18 minutes. It was an extra 10 minutes on top of that. So it flew by. I was having fun. So that when time is kind of irrelevant, you don't know how long the match is going on for. I think that's a good thing. Especially if you're engaged in the action, for sure. If you're not so, then it does drag.
Yeah.
But it was a long show. Especially up to that point. It'd been running for 3 hours.
You wouldn't have funked it, right? You wouldn't have thought it, though. But, yeah. But yeah, I've just said, but it said it's like it maybe it did, but maybe it's because it's like there were so many false finishes that he could have tried as well. But again, had more. But anyway, they have more. I think there was a bit where, but we'll go back more to cool stuff in it. He had Kenny Omega hit more V triggers on Cassidy. There was this bit where he put his hands in his pockets in defiance, and then he kind of like he looks like he was going to say, "Give me another V trigger," but then all of a sudden he just collapsed on the floor. That's very very comedy kind of hilarious in some ways. He can only take so many of those V triggers. But we got Pac done a brainbuster on Cassidy. We got Pac doing some like sunset flip power bomb on Cassidy and a Falcon Arrow from the top. That this is kind of the best bit of the match. When after that, obviously you thought Pac's going to go for the pin. Cassidy comes in, chucks Pac out of the ring, goes for the pin, and when we're talking about near falls. We're talking about near falls here. It was so close. Literally, the ref was ready to put the ref was ready to put the hand for the 3 count. It was literally inches. I mean, I got to be honest. People in the crowd were really wanting Orange Cassidy to win this match. You know, they were really up for it. I think he's really over. Like, maybe he's been a bit hit and miss recently, but in this match. And against performance well, I think some point out correctly. Maybe everyone keeps saying Adam Page taking that title off Kenny Omega. Could you see Orange Cassidy being that person to do it
in the future? But in what's fitting of the story and what's going on at the moment, I'd say it makes sense for Hangman Adam Page to become the next world champion.
So well, storyline it makes sense. For Adam Page to win it, but anyway, let's go kind of talk about kind of near the finish of the match. We had obviously Pac wasn't really happy with Orange Cassidy doing this. We've done them lazy kicks on Pac, and he just done what most people would do, kick him in the groin because he's pissed off with him and he's not happy. So and then Orange Cassidy got back into it. Hit like the beach break, kind of finisher on Omega just for a 2, and then we got kind of near the end. We had like Orange Cassidy hit an orange punch on Kenny Omega and Pac, and then here's another orange punch on Pac. He got the pin. Looks like he was going to get the win, but then the ref Don Callis came off the commentary booth, came back, dragged the ref outside the ring, and I think there was a funny thing where he turned around and Orange Cassidy's looking at him going, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?" But Pac wasn't having any of it because he came back and he locked in the brutalizer. Kenny Omega was obviously on the outside, came back in, and he tried to stop him. But for some reason, I don't know what it was, but Pac had that brutalizer in locked nice and tight and couldn't release it. So typical Kenny Omega, I would think this would be a disqualification, but he kind of just took out the ref, kicked him in the face because I guess you can do that, and even if a triple threat, I guess you can just kick a ref in the face.
Well, yeah, but they said at the beginning. They said at the beginning it was no disqualifications and no countouts. Yeah, similar to any triple threat match.
Yeah, I know, but surely it's got to be a thing about hitting refs like that. Like this is plainly obvious, but it's fine. But yeah. So obviously, then after that, just we got Kenny Omega just went and got all 4 of his belts. We're not talking about just one shot to the face with title belts. All 4 of his titles in the face of Pac. Looks like he was going to get the win. Orange Cassidy comes back, gets another Superman punch on Kenny Omega. The ref was it Audrey Edwards. She came back. She came in to try, because obviously ref is down. Went for the pin. Looks like Orange Cassidy was going to get the win, but then obviously Kenny Omega done a crucifix pin, got the 3. And yeah, he survived somehow, and is still your AEW World Champion. But my God, it's exhausting talking about it. It was awesome watching it. I mean, what a world title match! What a world title match!
I'm quite surprised Pac didn't take the pin. He had 4 belt shots to the head. You'd have thought, okay, you're taking that many blows, you can take the pin, surely. But then it's set up with a crucifix roll up. It's like, oh, okay. I found that a little bit odd.
I mean, maybe if they used the Good Brothers later on, maybe a screwier finish might have been better. Maybe.
Yeah, go full screwy finish, because that's what they were doing.
It's pretty much what it was. It's just basically, I don't think I've seen anyone take 4 title belts to the face before. You know, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4.
Especially multiple titles.
Surprised he wasn't busted open. But anyway, so do you think there'd be do you think, because obviously we've got Jungle Boy going against Kenny Omega in 2 weeks. That should be a good match.
That would be good.
Do you think Owens Cassidy will get another shot? Do you think?
I think so. I think he'll squirm his way in to have that one-on-one title opportunity.
I think there's a good chance. Maybe next year he might win it at some point. Maybe when I'm sure he's going to win that title next year or so. Because the way he's booking him, it looks like he's going to win that title at some point. Owens Cassidy. Yeah,
potentially same as Darby Allin, future world champion. But by the way things are going at the moment, story-wise, doesn't quite make sense. Even though he's very popular.
Yeah, but fair enough. But again, obviously we talk about the main event in a bit. But like match of the night, or do you think there was better matches before this? Do you think?
I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the tag team match as well with the Bucks, Moxley and Kingston. But otherwise, yeah, I'd say this is probably match of the night. This squeezes it. Although, saying that, the Sting Darby Allin one was quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's like if you go by the situation of just pure, like, kind of like over the top, I won't say spot fest, but kind of like, great back and forths. It definitely is up. It definitely ticks all the boxes of like a match of the night type of match, if you would say that. So good match. And then it's awesome match. I can't wait to see what Kenny Omega does next. So hopefully build up to him losing that title at some point, maybe it all out. But just have to wait and see, I guess.
We'll see the potential downfall of Kenny, so maybe he gets paranoid, so he loses the AAA, he loses the Impact, so as a result he gets more and more paranoid, maybe even with his own teammates, maybe even with the Good Brothers, maybe even with the Bucks, maybe even with Don.
That would make sense. That would, the fact that it'd be like a total decline, right? So yeah, we just have to wait and see where the story would go with Kenny Omega. But should be, as always, it should be mildly entertaining because he loves long-term storytelling. So be interesting to see what happens. But obviously, was it one thing a note to talk about before we get into the main event is that Mark Henry is signed for AEW. He's going to be an announcer on that new AEW Rampage thing. So, yeah, that's good for AEW, isn't it?
It came as a surprise. I'm glad he's not back wrestling, I guess, because that's not what we need. More Hall of Famers, more legends coming in. We need to get that fine balance again of established stars that have, kind of past their best. Sting's a good kind of marquee kind of name there who can still go occasionally, but you've got to push those new talents through. Not being too reliant on WWE guys. Was it a necessary signing? I wouldn't say so, but it's a good paycheck for Mark Henry, I'd imagine. So, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, it's just everyone keeps saying, like, it's not like he's in the ring.
No.
He's just... Most of these guys they've signed, like these legends, have pretty much been on the announce team. It's not like they've been wrestling. So, I'd more put experience on the commentary team is not a bad thing. I would say
more experience. Well, I guess more knowledge on the commentary team, but I'd rather have someone who's a skilled commentator calling the action. So, I mean, Mauro Ranello would be fantastic. But I think he's full time with TNA now. I know he did a match with Rich Swann and Kenny Omega, but I'm not sure if he's full time Impact or not.
I don't think so. I think that was just a one off because obviously it's a massive match, so they got a massive announcer to do it, or the comment play by play. But yeah, I mean, I think the problem is like he could do it. Yeah, they could get him in, but it's like anything. It's the kind of thing what they've got on AEW Dynamite. It's kind of the mix. It's quite well. You've got JR's kind of experience. You've got Tony Giovanni, kind of like he's got his back and forth between them two. Then you've got Excalibur. There's kind of the knowledge based. He's like the guy that you want to ask about all the moves and everything. So it's a good combination. So
it's not necessary. I don't think for like very casual fans, I guess it helps the brand. But as a hardcore fan, I'm not really fussed about Mark Henry signing for AEW.
At least it didn't big it. I mean, at least they learned their lesson this time and not bigged it up, right? Yeah, because last time it backfired.
Oh yeah, that was good. We got a huge signing. It's Christian Cage. Okay, we like Christian Cage, but when you say huge, we're expecting like behemoth signing. With like you were talking like CM Punk level, or New Japan kind of deal. Like, have you signed Okada to like a multi-promotional deal? That would have been pretty big. But Christian Cage, okay, maybe if it.
It's fine. It was just, yeah, I know.
If this was in 2011, okay, fine. Post like TNA run and World Championship run in WWE, okay, I get that.
And I think, as I said, I think they've learned a lesson. So that's just like, don't tell anyone, make an announcement. Everyone goes, oh, that's fun, and then just move on. And it might sound horrible. That's what we're going to do.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to move on to the final match of the night, the second edition of the Stadium Stampede.
Yeah, it's kind of it's weird because we just had a couple of weeks ago we had Blood and Guts that you would say is a kind of feud. It was kind of like a match that you would finish a feud, but in this case it started a feud, kind of. So it's a bit strange that he had that and then he had this. So it's like two big multi-team matches, like two teams going against each other in a matter of like a couple of weeks. Don't you think that's a bit strange, or does it really bother you that much?
It's a little bit strange. You would have thought that the stipulation of the Blood and Guts, where you can only win by submission, pretty much, they have to quit. So if the Inner Circle decide to quit, as they did, like Sammy Guevara did in the match, then they would have to disband. I think that would have increased the stakes, increased the tension more. I think, and then potentially lead to a match maybe you could have had on this card instead. Like you could have had Guevara and Sean Spears. You could have had Guevara against MJF maybe. But Stadium Stampede was a success last year, and it might be an annual thing, a signature thing that AEW does. So kind of as everyone knows the story here. Basically, MJF, we all thought when he was part of the Inner Circle, would take over the Inner Circle. No, he was biding his time to basically form his own group to take them out one at a time. And for the last couple of weeks, it's just basically been back and forth between each other. Obviously we had the Blood and Guts match. There was obviously the Pinnacle one. Then they've got the stipulation with if the Inner Circle will lose, they're out. They basically don't exist anymore. And I think they basically you can't. I'll be honest, actually, I thought Inner Circle would win going in, but there was that you had that feeling that they would. It's type of thing Jericho would do, wouldn't he? Like kind of like let the heel team win so he can put a bigger star over. He would let his team lose, Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what he did for Blood and Guts, but they just need to. Again, they just wanted Stadium Stampede because it was popular last year. One of their best matches of the year of 2020, and you've got two rival factions going against each other, so it's very fitting. It makes sense, and plus the way it went down, it is just a way to send the crowd home happy, especially when they're in an arena like full capacity for the first time in ages. So it's a lovely little send off. I mean, I guess you could have had like a little bit of sweet kind of, okay, thank you very much, goodbye. But why do that? Just have fun, celebrate. Brilliant, the Inner Circle are back together. Everything's good. Everything is back as it was. Nothing changes, and hopefully this is hopefully back to normal now. This sticks. We don't go into empty arenas again and Thunderdomes and shit like that. But
I mean, do you think would it be an empty arena thing in the future? Because would you think they might put fans in like that area to make it a bit more like proper, like maybe like more of a like football match kind of feel? Like instead of just being an empty arena, would you think they put more fans in it maybe next year? Maybe if obviously to make it a bit more of a bigger deal.
I thought they would. Yeah, I thought they would have done something like that. So if it was the main event, I guess they didn't move him because I guess COVID, I guess, and social distancing, so they didn't want people moving around too much. I guess, maybe. But next time round, the stadium may not be at full capacity, but you'll have at least how many were in there? Like 80, like 10,000, 20,000.
Something like that. I think it was full. Yeah, it was full capacity and all that.
Oh, full capacity, yeah. But having crowds like filtered in, if it was the main event, they can just shift over to the stadium, or as they did at the very end. If the audience can't come to us to the stadium, we'll just come to them, and we'll just go and finish it in the ring.
Yeah, but to be fair, maybe next year, maybe. But I think, as you say, it's going to be a thing to stay. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you look at it, it kind of started off interesting. And the match, just talk a bit more about the actual match, because there's a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff. Got a lot of notes here, so we're going to try and breeze through most of this. But yeah, obviously we started off with, we had, was it a limo? Obviously it was MJF, basically coming out with his really interesting gear. I mean, you know, he can put it off, he's MJF, he can do what he wants. But yeah, just a nice little promo, heel promo, just sitting there saying, yeah, it's the end of Chris Jericho. And then all of a sudden Judas plays, and then we have the Inner Circle. Jericho always finds a way to kind of... he always finds a way of kind of doing it up in the game, or doing upper like entrances, you know. And obviously this one we did, where they kind of entering from the top of the scoreboard and kind of hoisting themselves down slowly. That it did take a bit longer than anticipated.
Yeah, they were abseiling themselves down. It wasn't the smoothest. It was a little bit awkward coming down, but the idea was nice. Then when they got down to the ground, they had the pyro. They were basically lined up like a metal band, like Fozzy, I guess, and they looked absolutely badass. They looked really cool. And MJF was all on his own. And MJF, being a coward that he is, decides to hide in the limo as the Inner Circle form on the outside. However, the Pinnacle then come in FTR's signature pickup truck, and that's when the brawl, the Stampede, begins. You have FTR taking on Santana and Ortiz, so the two signature tag teams are of each faction. You've got the two big guys, Jake Hager's against Wardlow, Sammy Guevara, Sean Spears, and of course the faction leaders Jericho against MJF, and we follow them throughout in different locations. Yeah,
pretty much what we did. I mean, to be fair, they timed it quite nicely. Like the smooth transition towards the other members was really good. But I mean, obviously, we kind of with obviously Sammy Guevara and Sean Spears were in the ring. A lot of like basic wrestling kind of stuff, you know. I think Sammy Guevara being, you know, high flying as you expect, kind of, you know, off the ropes. You had Sean Spears, I think, hit a blue thunderbolt at one point. But it didn't get. It was like it was slow at first, but then when it got to the bit where MJF came out of the, as you said, coward, comes out of the limo looking around saying, "Oh, it's safe now. It's safe to come out." And then he looks around and Jericho's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And then they've got a good old hockey fight back and forth. And then check it in the boot. Apparently, I didn't know there was a lot of things in limo boots. But apparently, they got fire extinguishers. I mean, do limos go up in flames more often than not? Am I missing something?
Well, if you remember, Vince McMahon died, didn't it? Well, if you remember rightly, Vince McMahon died in that terrible limousine accident and then came back to life again. So, lesson learned: always have a fire extinguisher.
He survived. We know why, but yeah, not one but two. They had two because you never know, it could. But
yep.
I just found that intriguing. You know, I'm just looking, going, "Oh, you got a fire extinguisher in there." Okay, interesting. But yeah, obviously this nice little exchange from we talking about fire extinguishers. MJF was like, "Oh, this could be a good defensive weapon," and done the cliche what everyone does with a fire extinguisher, puts it sprays the fire extinguisher into Jericho's face, so you know, gets the advantage, and then MJF takes that to run away, and Jericho chases him, and and then normally I think we cut to back and forth between some of the people, other parts of the fighting, but it kind of went back into kind of Jericho. Jericho was just beating the living crap out of MJF. I think he throwed was it fighting fighting there, and obviously MJF throw some coffee in his face. Like, that's a dick move. Hot coffee, come on, man, that's low.
He then uses the phone and talking to the imaginary person on the other end, saying, "Sorry, Jericho can't come to the phone right now. He's busy eating his own teeth or swallowing his own teeth." Something like that, which was quite fun, quite silly. Stadium Stampede's quite a gimmicky, silly, fun idea, so just play up to it. As well as having that brutality, so the coffee in the face, the attacking of the cast. We have Jericho using the megaphone to scream in MJF's face. That was quite funny. The sheet pans. He crushes MJF between the wall using the table. So that will cause some internal damage to MJF there. Whacks him with the cleaning sign. He's throwing footballs at him, using the laptop in the Jacksonville Jaguars coaching room. So the coach has got a nice little cameo there.
Throw some footballs at him, like, good, you know.
Yep. He pushes MJF on the office chair through the door and through the table. MJF goes back to the arm, and Jericho does a lovely little bit of slapstick comedy, but also using his environment very effectively, spinning the whiteboard to whack MJF straight in the mush, which was very humorous.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, it's like Jericho was quite on point with his comedy in this kind of match. To be fair, it's like the bit with obviously using the football. Go back earlier with throwing the footballs at him. That was kind of funny, and then the coach, you know, going up to the coach saying, "Have a great season," and the coach was like, "Holy shit!" It's like, that was kind of funny, and it's just because it's like that's how you would react if someone's came into your office, and then all of a sudden they're fighting. And then they come out and you're just looking at going, holy shit, what the fuck was that? That was a bit weird. But, yeah, I mean, with Chris Jericho, he can always counter goofiness, right? It's kind of what he's quite good at, you know, doing the seriousness but goofiness at the same time. But then after that, we kind of cut to, obviously, Jake Hager and Wardlow fighting, you know. Nothing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, you know, hitting, slamming people through boxes and kind of fighting in a meat, kind of, what's it called? A freezer, basically, fighting, all that kind of stuff. A lot of hitting in, basically, as you expect from the big strength, you know, big guys like this, who are just throwing each other around. But kind of fighting resulted in this kind of section of the match where kind of you had what was it? Was it Wardlow spearing Hager through the kind of the wall basically and going into the kitchen? That's you know, I always love those spots because it's like a situation of like, yeah. Because rules, in real life, rules don't break like that. Because real rules, you know, it's terrible. But, yeah, I mean, I think what I liked about this, I said, I'm loving the selling by everyone. Really overdoing the selling, I noticed. If it wasn't the only one here, but properly, like, going a bit over-top goofiness type of selling of all the hitting with, like, bins and trash cans and all that kind of stuff, you know. Gone a bit over the top with it.
Then we cut to Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears. We see Shawn Spears in his chair room, as he is the chairman of the Pinnacle. Sammy Guevara is demonstrating his wonderful parkour evasive skills, doing a lovely backflip off the counter. He is then long darted into a garage door with his head bouncing off it. Shawn Spears considers using... Now, this is a lovely little bit of continuity here, which I really appreciate, especially in kind of cinematic matches. There's something to bear in mind for later on. A little bit of, I guess, foreshadowing as well, I guess. We have the bolt cutters, which is quite a sick weapon. You think, oh, God, what's Shawn Spears going to do? Is he going to try and, I don't know, cut off Sammy Guevara's fingers? But no, he doesn't want the bolt cutters. He wants his good old signature chair. They launch the face into the scissor lift. There is a choke with a cable, which initially Shawn Spears goes for, but Sammy Guevara then appears from behind with exactly the same idea. So both these guys are on the same wavelength. I guess they know each other so well. Sammy Guevara climbs the structure, but Shawn Spears moves out of the way and throws a ladder into Sammy Guevara's face. He then uses the handcuffs that he has, not quite sure where he got those from, to handcuff Sammy Guevara to the shelf. Oh no, there's now a 5-on-4 disadvantage, so Pinnacle have the man advantage now that Guevara is handcuffed to the shelf. Or has he? Because going back too early with the bolt cutters, because Shawn Spears threw them away, they conveniently landed right near Sammy Guevara's feet. So, we don't ever see him escape, but that is established. You can just, you don't need to see him being trying to cut out of it. You can just assume that, he got to the bolt cutters and cut himself free. There we go. That was very nice.
I always like stuff like that. You know, like where it's kind of, like I also like the idea. It's like sometimes I know they say show don't tell, but sometimes in this you didn't need to. Just like he's gonna get out. Like you just had to leave that there and then skip to the next bit, and you knew he'll be back near the end of the match. That's how it works, right?
Absolutely. A bit of, I think the term's exposition, I guess. But then we cut to now this is the most probably underwhelming section of the Stadium Stampede between Proud and Powerful against FTR. First things first, Tully Blanchard looked absolutely ridiculous.
He did go a bit crazy, right?
He did not fit in well at all that time. He looked like something from a porn film. That's not a good look, Tully. They have a face-off and they drink shots with each other, which I found odd. And then they started trading shots.
Do you think that was would you think that was respect, or just because they wanted to drink before they fought? Maybe.
I'm not quite sure. Maybe a bit of both.
I get it. It was a bit strange, but yeah, I just think it was really. I like that. It's just like they hate each other, but they kind of secretly respect each other. Or maybe, as always, probably looking into it a bit too much. Probably, yeah. Yeah,
just a little bit of added silliness, which I don't think need to be there. Just, I think as they did later on, just start throwing bottles at each other. Perfect. That's great. That's fun. Conan was the DJ as well.
Yeah, I love that. It's like everyone's like, I like that content. As you say, continuity, right? When he said like, former LAX, kind of affiliate. I know I've done it before, but it's always nice to see him back. So, that's really cool. He got involved in the end where, Toy Blanchard was trying to interfere and was going to hit him with a pipe. I think he found, or I think it was Ortiz. But then Conan was like, nope, not happening, mate. And then and obviously you had said with the bottles later on. But yeah, we got. I think I don't know. Did he get like kind of stick him like it's like a sharp pipe or something, and then just like stabbed him in the face or something, on the head?
I'm not quite sure. I know. Was it earlier on or later on where Wardlow tries to stab Hager with an icicle? It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that. And I was like, I felt like we were watching like a prison film. They've got the shiv.
Yeah.
Trying to get the fight out.
Good old ice shiv.
But yeah, that was a bit of. It's kind of what it was. Just happens to be an icicle right there that you want to start. I don't know. It's very strange, but yeah. Obviously, this all culminated in basically, what was it? Santana and Dax Wyatt. I would say Wyatt. Fighting into the escalator, and then basically we never seen again. Wheeler, that's it. And we never saw them again. Like literally, never saw them again.
No, we never saw them again.
And then they just came out. Obviously, they came out near the end, and obviously we knew they must have survived. But it looks like we know who won that fight in the escalator, then, don't we? But yeah, and after that we got back to Wardlow and Hager. It looks like they got out of the kitchen and found their way into some sort of back stage thing or whatever. So yeah, and they're fighting on top of what ironically was probably what was it? What's the word for? It is I thought it was like a truck or something, or the thing they kind of used last year with Sammy Guevara. That maybe that tied into something. Probably didn't.
Is that a golf
That's
buggy?
The one I'm looking for. Yeah, golf buddy type thing. Fighting on top of that, and then you just Hager done low blow to the gut on Wardlow, and then was it choke slammed him off the car into some sort of other, basically some carts or what?
Wooden
yeah, sorry
shelf.
that. So he's out. So that's 2 down. So it looks like you can see where this is all going, right? Basically taking out each member one by one. But then we get back to the kind of fight that everyone wanted to see. The other ones were kind of sideshows, but the one we all wanted to see is Chris Jericho beating the living crap out of that weasel MJF. Let's be honest, right? That's what we all wanted to see.
Absolutely. We also got a nice little, air quotes, cameo from Tony Khan's father in cardboard form.
That was
in the conference
kind
room.
of funny. Like, I kind of like that. You know, you're in trouble now. I think that was the quote I think Jericho said.
He does a move that Jimmy Havoc would be proud of. He used the stapler to staple a piece of paper to MJF's face and then cause more damage, decides to just pull the paper out.
What did it say? Like, because I actually didn't because obviously I don't know what the card said. I think it was like, you're welcome or something. I can't remember what it actually said on the thing.
I can't recall. I was too busy laughing because he got a stapler to the face.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I love the selling of it. It's just like, to be fair, he actually sold it like, yeah, that would bloody hurt. A stapler to the face. It would, and he takes it out as well. It's horrible.
There is a pile driver on the table from MJF to Jericho. He then attempts to use a claw hammer to further damage Jericho's arm / elbow, but Jericho manages to counter it using a trash bin, I guess. Jericho then manages to find Floyd, his good old baseball bat companion. Clubs MJF with it. Have Jericho calling, I think it's Jericho calling the MJF a real asshole, something like that, and smashes his face through the glass panel in the door, busting MJF open. He then manages to grab his hair and drag him all the way to the stadium seating area, where all the fans are gathered for the finale of this second edition of Stadium Stampede. Sean Spears runs into the Inner Circle motorcycle club,
was
which
a thing.
I wasn't aware was a thing. No, I would have thought, were Santana Ortiz on the motorbike? Because I'm not quite sure, because they just completely fucked off and disappeared.
Yeah, well, I wasn't paying attention there, but yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, I don't think so.
Anyway, Jericho and MJF are fighting in Daily's place, and the crowd are going nuts. Jericho drops MJF on the steel railing, landing right between his legs. MJF attempts to throw... was that the other way around? But MJF attempts to throw Jericho over the barricade, so another fall. But I'm sure there'd be plenty of crash mats and cardboard boxes down there. I'm sure he'll be safe again. We have Jericho power bombing MJF through the table, and MJF is now effectively out of action. And we finally see Sean Spears again in the back, and we have a little callback to last year where Sammy Guevara was the victim on that occasion. This time the tables have turned because now Sammy Guevara is behind the wheel of the golf cart. He chases down Sean Spears and manages to run him down.
It always makes me laugh, that. It's always a great spot. But no one can beat Sammy Guevara last year, basically running into the side of it and like completely selling the hell out of it. But it was up there.
That was fantastic, but also, I don't know which... I'd rather take that than the one-winged angel from the stadium seating down to the ground. That looked absolutely brutal.
No, I'm not taking that at all. But them two are crazy, so they can do that crazy spot. But yeah, well, obviously after that, it's just we finally fight our way into the actual ring. It didn't do it last year, but this year we did fight all the way to the ring, and then it's basically a standard wrestling match at this point with Sammy Guevara and Sean Spears fighting in the ring. We had a thing where Sammy Guevara jumping off the top rope, but then Spears kind of hit him with the chair midair. Got the count for 2. Sean picks up the chair, sets him up for a massive chair shot. It reminded me of Cody Rhodes' chair shot to the face. I was thinking of at this point. Sammy Guevara putting the middle finger up with laugh defiance, and then a massive headshot. Sammy Guevara, but he still kicks out. But then obviously we had a nice little callback to the debut of the Pinnacle with when he chucked Sammy Guevara into that chair. I think he like pushed his face into that chair. I think when they debuted. So it looks like he was going to set up for that. But Sammy Guevara countered with nice knee strikes, got back into it, and yes, he basically took him and then basically slammed his face into that steel chair at the bottom of the rope. Went to the top, not talking about 450. We got a 630 senton splash right on Spears, gets the pin, gets the win, and in some ways gets redeemed after it was him that quit in the Blood and Guts. So looks like he's got his team to win in the rematch. So
that's right.
Yeah, great. I think it was really good.
I don't think it quite tops last year's Stadium Stampede. I think last year they played more with the environment in the stadium, especially mainly in the field and the seating area and the bar. This was more of, if you can recall, the Young Bucks against Butcher and the Blade. They're kind of backstage brawl. This is more the case, I guess, rather than the Stadium Stampede was a backstage brawl. I would say
it was. I mean, to be fair, it was fine. I think it was. I get it. Last year was different. I think they played more on the drama and less of the comedy. Because last year they went a bit like for the last year they really played on the kind of comedy aspects of it. They went about because obviously they had Matt Hardy and all that, so they played on it a bit more. But this year it was probably a bit more serious, so it didn't have them more memorable spots. Maybe that might be why it felt like last year's was better than this year's. But I think it still kind of looked pretty good. So, but I can see what I mean. I think last year was just they're a bit more creative. I think he kind of had to be, maybe.
Yeah. I think they teamed the right people up to face each other. However, I'd like to have seen them going back to, because they went to each other at least 2 times. They only went to the tag teams really kind of once, pretty much. And also playing with the kind of dynamics as well. So maybe like 2-on-1 kind of situations, which they did a lot of in the first Stadium Stampede match as well, rather than just 1-on-1s.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what we interjected as well. I think in the first one, they kind of all in this one they kind of felt like they all just went their separate ways, and then didn't see each other again for the entire match. As you said, it would have been nice to have something, they interject or like they both get involved, but. Maybe that was because of the way they filmed it or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, would have liked to be more interaction with each other than just they're all separated and fighting their own battles, maybe. That's it. We've got, again, obviously as it's been an interesting review. We try to keep it as short as possible, but when you're talking about two matches at the end, it's very hard to keep it short and sweet.
As well as the show being 4 hours long as well, and having some technological issues along the way.
Yes, obviously when you lovely people listen to this or watch this on YouTube, you won't even notice it because I'll use my genius editing skills to make it all slow very nicely. So, but let's kind of finish off this review and talk about so Double Nothing 2021. What's your thoughts? Good show. Was last year's better, or do you think this was a very, very, was it like their best show of the year so far? AEW, would you say?
The fans made it, I think, the best show of the year. They were, apart from a few matches like in between, so the Anthony Ogogo, Cody, and the TNT Championship match. That aside, they were pretty much hot for pretty much everything else, I'd say, especially the first 2 contests. And for those final 2 matches as well. And for Sting and Sting's in-ring return, I guess. The fans really, really made it. It was fantastic to have them back. Overall, I thought the card was really good. And as I mentioned before, some matches undelivered. Maybe even the Steam Stampede just a bit. But ultimately, I thought it was a very enjoyable show. 4 hours, though. It's a bit long. 3.5 maybe, but 4 hours. I'm not sure about that.
Maybe they done the whole thing with the first time we have fans, so we're going to overstuff the card because there's so many first time back. So we have to go a bit, put too much. But yeah, so maybe, hopefully, but I think they've still got, obviously we talked about All Out on Chicago in September, I think, if I might be wrong. Top of my head, I think it's in like mid-September, I think, the next show. Makes sense, 2 months. They usually do 2 months apart, usually, their stuff. But, so maybe they might put it down to maybe 6, 7 would be nice. Especially for us reviewers. Please, put it down. So that's a lot of stuff to watch, but I think except for obviously the Cody match and maybe the Miro TNT Championship match, most of the matches delivered in some ways. Had some spots that are very enjoyable, very entertaining. I still think match of the night is a toss-up between probably the tag team match or the tag team title match or the world title match. I mean, you could sit there and say the main event was also good, but I think I would say the world title match. Cause I just think it was just, I don't know, they all clicked. I don't know what it is that they faced it before. Just that match clicked in some ways, and the crowd were really into it. That shows that having a crowd back really enhances any match. So it was just, it was more prevalent in that match of how much we miss fans so much when in wrestling matches, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Again, touched on it before. Fresh idea. They've all got chemistry. They all have some history of each other. Very, very enjoyable match. Very fast paced. Very back and forth. The result was kind of inevitable. There was like a very, very small what if Orange Cassidy, but I think it's far too early for Kenny to drop that title. Especially to say someone like Orange, for example. But otherwise, very, very enjoyable match. I think the Bucks and against Mox and Kingston had a slight edge in that potentially Mox and Kingston could win. Potentially. Yeah,
it would have made a bit more sense them winning it than obviously Orange Cassidy winning the world title. But yeah, I get where you're going with that. But I mean, if grading wise, let's get to a quick grade before we have to go. Should we say? I would say, would 8 out of 10 be a fair assessment, or do you think that's too high, or do you think it should be higher? I would say 8 out of 10.
It would probably be. I'd probably say it would be a 7.5, but the crowd made it a solid 8. I'd say.
Yeah, I think 8 out of 10 is good. I mean, it's the high. If you go on Cage Match, it's the highest rated. I think it's on like 9.1 or something. So I think. A
little bit overrated.
Yeah, but it's because I think the world title match got like a 9.1 or something, so that already puts the score up immensely.
Yeah.
But it's all preference, isn't it? It's all opinion anyway. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it immensely. So I guess when we've been talking for so long, and these technical issues are, I assume, are getting very annoying. So let's finish this off. So we'll be back for review-wise. We'll be back for Hell in a Cell. Obviously, we've got some cool matches in that. So that'll be in a couple of weeks, I think. It's in 2 or 3 weeks, if I know my think. If you're if you watch this on YouTube, thank you so much for staying this long. We always appreciate it. If you press that like and subscribe button, would be awesome. Get us more noticed. Go on our Twitter. Obviously, the prediction game will be back on Hell in a Cell, so that'd be interesting to see what's going to go in there, because it's always fun. So go on Josh Do Pod on Twitter, follow that there. You can go on our Instagram at Josh Do Wrestling Podcast, joshsdopod@gmail.com. I think I got that right. And if you want to find us on there, we're not hard to find. That's all I'm going to say. So as I said, no excuse not to be able to find us and listen to our latest reviews. So yeah,
exactly.
So so as I said, AEW will probably be back for obviously All Out when it's out, when that's in a couple of months. So we get a bit of a respite for AEW for at least a month or so. But Hell in a Cell, Hell in a Cell always produces some sort of cool stuff, so that should be fun. So that'll be in a couple of weeks. So I guess the last thing to say is we'll see you then. I've been Stuart Irvine.
I've been Joshua Plummer.
And Jeff, see you at Hell in a Cell. Have an awesome week, everyone. Right, bye.
See you in hell.